narrated sparring session. Here we go, we've got the gloves on, so we're striking. This is with Mike from our master cycle. He'll be going on our instructor course soon. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to put a striking video up is because I want to show everyone, our school members and stuff like that, it doesn't have to be full on hitting each other super hard and being rolling as hard as you can. It can still be super playful like this. Look, I'm hardly touching him, just literally pat a cake on the face, but it just makes him keep his jiu-jitsu honest, and if it was a fight, you know, he can and I can learn to manage the distance. So it starts standing. We always start standing with street sparring. He's doing most of the takedown work, so I've got to do takedown counters. Whenever we actually grab each other for a takedown, a lot of times we just allow the fight to go to the ground. Don't do too much resisting because it's dangerous if there's loads of other people on the mat. Nice little heel hook from him. I just managed to spin out. He's now looking at 50-50. He tries to exit the 50-50 position and reset. So I'm on the floor, he's on top. And now, anytime it's striking, you have to have a foot on the hip. You don't have the luxury of being able to go de la hiva. You have to keep your foot on the hip. See, as soon as my foot's not on the hip, he can punch me. So that's why I'm fighting constantly to keep my foot roughly around, one of my feet roughly around his hip. He's done a little leg drag now. Of course, as soon as he gets that, he's going to pass. And he gets his side mount. He goes knee on stomach, looking like he's going to take the mount. And all I'm interested in now is staying as super close to him as possible so he can't land a punch in my face. Yes, he could start punching my ribs here, but he's just electing not to. I would have to move if he started punching my ribs. He's trying to get to a more advantageous position before he decides to go for the strikes. I think that's very wise. But you can see how close I'm staying. Look how close my head is to his head. It's right next to it. It makes it much harder for him to punch. And I'm just going to focus entirely on this until an escape opportunity presents itself. So right now he's giving me a bit of space, and that should be enough for me to escape. And now he goes to knee on stomach, and we end up reversing position. So now I'm in his guard. He's looking for like a triangle setup. Let's freeze now. So what I want to do is, whenever someone puts me in a triangle setup like this, I hug the leg that they're trying to get through, and I want to step my leg right over and capture that foot, and then I'm going to turn his triangle setup into my pass. Don't know if that happens here. He's already switching it up and going for a straight arm lock. I step over the head, and now we're back in the open guard. So I stand back up. He's from striking. He's very quick to do the takedowns. Look, he's one punch and straight in. After a while, that just becomes too predictable. You see, and I can manage to smash his takedown. One jab and a takedown. Yeah, it'll probably work great in a street fight against someone who doesn't know. But after, you know, you're doing it against the same person over and over, it's too obvious. So you need like a combo of punches and then a takedown, or possibly just wait for them to throw their punch and then shoot in. So his distance management is pretty good here, but once again, he ends up in a kind of similar leg drag style position. Going for his little heel hook, I step over. He gets a sweep out of it. Quite often when you go for the legs, they're a great way to kind of make your bad guy panic, and you end up with a sweep. So once again here, you see, look, he's stuffing my foot, so I don't have a foot on his hip, and then he's throwing the strikes. Perfect. There you go, a little sweep, little shin sweep I just did on him, and now I get super close, look at my head, burying my head into him as I pass, and burying the head so I don't get struck as I get past the legs. Now I've got my underhook and cross face control. I put my knee on stomach. You see my left hand out for base in case he tries to roll me headways, and I take the mount. He's rolling, trying to roll, but of course it's difficult for him to roll when he's under my armpit, which is exactly where I want his arm. Let's freeze the video. So look, this is a great setup for me right now. And I hear a lot of people say that they don't like the mount in NoGi for attack. And there's no doubt that having a gi on is easier for the top person to attack someone. But I still like the mount when it's NoGi. And one of the positions I'm aiming for is this one right here, this position here. Now, obviously the mount's even better when you can strike, because the strike potential is higher from the mount than it is from the side mount, because you can sit up and throw strikes with both hands. But this position here is a good grappling position for the mount. So you can see his outside arm is stuck on the outside of my body now. My left knee in this case is slid up under his tricep. So his arm's kind of trapped on the outside, and I have his wrist pinned on this near side. This is a great position for me because I have access to a few submissions that are hard for him to stop. One of them is the mounted triangle. If I can jump my right leg over that shoulder and go under his head, we're looking for a mounted triangle. But also, on the big guys where my legs don't fit around their massive shoulders and neck, we go for the spiral armbar. That means we're going to armbar the arm that's under my armpit reason why this works well is because most people are worried about this arm, the one that's been pinned to the ground by my right arm. But that's not really the arm I'm going for. It's going to be the other arm. This pinning of the arm is just there to help set it up. And you've got to be careful you don't get rolled away from the arm that you're pinning. So this right leg, for example, has to bite a little bit into his body to create like a hook system to stop yourself from falling in that in the far direction. So let's carry on and see what happens here, which one I go for. Most of the time probably an arm lock, let's see. So you see there comes up my knee, so I'm getting ready to step my leg over. Yeah, so here, this is a slightly different position. This is another position we use from this position, which is where I trap his arm with my shin, and my left leg, I step up. So my left leg's probably looking at this stepped up by now. That means I can still go for the spiral arm bar. Triangles, not so much. It's going to be more spiral arm bars, monoplatas, and kimuras on this top arm. I can actually reach back both my arms to do a kimura on this arm. Let's see what I do. Okay, it's going to turn into a spiral arm bar. Okay, so there you go. So he rolls into the spiral arm bar now. Look, using my armpit and my inner thigh. Let's go back there and show you the finish. Right, so right here, you see his arm's stuck under my armpit. My right leg is over his shoulder, so he can't move north because my calf blocks his shoulder from moving north, and I'm biting that calf in. And what I do now is I get my left leg and I bring my knee towards me so that the inner thigh is positioned right on his elbow. And then I use my right arm to either be punching. If this is street sparring, I can punch him with my right arm right now. It's hard for him to deal with that. And then my right hand can also grab the knee and I pull the knee up. So basically my thigh pushes into his elbow and I kind of drop my armpit or ribs here into his hand, and that creates a straight arm lock. Now it's more of a squeeze, like a stretch on the elbow. It's enough to make most people tap. But if there's a fight and you really wanted to break the arm, I don't know the breaking potential is that going to be as good as you need. So in that case, I would step my left leg over the head and then grab his wrist with both hands and use a traditional and bridge my pelvis into the back of the elbow to get the break. But just for setting all that up, striking from here and doing this little stretch on the elbow is brilliant. So look, if I carry on here, you can see me grab my right arm is now going to grab the knee and I pull it up and that stretches the elbow and makes him tap. That's the spiral arm bar set up right there. Cool, so off we go again, so striking. He just comes in, see, it's playful though, we're not going for it hard. Right now, we're still fighting, but we're not covering loads of ground. Now he's got me, I'm going to go to the ground. I don't fight it too much, I just go down, because otherwise if I hop around, we could go across the whole mat and injure another pair. He's back in his leg drag position, pretty much side mount. So from here you can see my near side leg is checking his hip, so he can't mount so easy. If he tries to create me space, I'm going to try and shoot that knee in. He does manage to get his knee across for a knee on stomach, and I drop him down for a leg lock attack. So right here, I'm going to try and hook his heel. He's hiding his heel. I spin with him, but in the spin, I lose the knee line. So that's what he wanted in the spin, you see. When someone spins like that, he's obviously hiding the heel. He's turning the heel that I want away from me. Let's just go back so you can see this spin again. So look, we're here. So I bump him over the top and I go for the heel hook. Right, so right now, there's his heel. It's exposed. If I reach back, I'm going for an inside heel hook. The trouble is, he could, if I do that right now, he could just take his left leg and go over the top and spin out of the heel hook. So I need to take my left leg and go over the top of the leg I'm going to attack and under the leg I don't want to attack. So I kind of lock it down, start getting a triangle ready on this leg. The other option is I take my right leg and I go over his hip. That again will stop him from rolling to accommodate the pressure that I could put on the heel hook. But you can see he's hugging my leg. He's got his left arm hugging underneath my leg. That makes it difficult for me to get that into the correct position that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fight to get my other leg out and go across. There it is. So you can see I've already laced my leg through. Now I'm going to start looking for the heel. He knows that now, so he's going to turn away from me. He's going to have to release this grip on my leg, turn away from me and hide his heel. As he turns away from me, his heel that I want to hook is going to move further away from me and be harder for me to hook. And then in the roll, I'm going to try and follow him and still hook the heel. But of course, there's a chance I lose his leg. And the reason why I'm going to lose the legs from this position right now, and it favors him the roll, is because of this arm that's under the leg. You see, I can't triangle my legs and get a good bite on his leg. So watch, let's see what happens. There you go. See, as we roll, I haven't managed to triangle my legs, and I'm already losing his leg. Now, as soon as we get to here, he starts pushing the top of my leg. His knee line's about here, so you can see he's outside of my control. So he's out basically right now. The only way I could recover this is to be able to pull his leg back in, which is not going to happen with his stiff arm, his right arm like this, holding my top leg. So he's out. So a little scramble there to see who's going to get on top. So throw a few strikes. Again, he should have his feet on the hips, fighting to get the feet on the hips. So the reason why I do this, let's just go back a little bit. So you see how I step in with my leg? Let's do it again, let's do it one more time. So I don't catch it, there we go. You see how I use my shin here? So when I step in very deep with one leg, and I get my shin against his, underneath of his hamstring. And the reason for this is because I don't want to get kicked in the face by this top leg. That leaves him only the other leg to kick me with, right? So I'm taking one leg out of the equation so he can't kick me. I know he's not doing that right now, he's looking for more of a grappling style, but if this was a fight, the kick is the main threat. And you know, sometimes people will very lightly like stomp kick upwards towards me so I can practice this control. But with my shin here, he can't do it, he's gonna hit the shin. And what I'm trying to do is encourage him to use the other foot to kick me, and then I will re-guide that foot to the side nearest to this camera, which will be a leg drag. So I'm trying to set up a potential kick so I can counter it with a leg drag. And he goes for more of a grappling style, which is a sweep, which is a good answer. There we go, he's got a lovely little heel hook here. So let's go through what he's doing with the heel hook this time. Michael's very good at the leg locks. He's just very good generally. He's a blue belt, but really he's more of a purple belt level. We'll try and get that sorted out when we go to LA. He's going on our instructor course. So let's look what he's doing. So he's dropped into, again, an inside heel hook. He's got a great bite on it. It's not quite, I felt like the leg was very tight here. He's got a good pinch between his elbow and his ribs. My foot is a little bit in his armpit. If my foot was slightly down his bicep here, it would be even stronger, but it's strong enough as it is. And again, if you remember when I said an inside heel hook, I want to take my other leg and go over the top so I roll out. Just look at the mouse movement. I want to roll my heel this way, which means my knee is going to go up and over. I'm going to roll away from the camera direction. That will alleviate the pressure. The trouble is he's put his other foot on the inside of my knee, which is going to buy him. I might be able to pummel it out or push it out of my arm, but in the time that I do that, I could potentially be injured, because he just needs to bridge his pelvis right now and squeeze that heel hook, and I'm going to be done. So this little leg work he's doing here is going to get him the finish, I believe. And I realised straight away, and I tap. There's no point in fighting, risking injury, and also we've been very playful here, so you know, just tap, and that's the way you deal with it. That's a beautiful heel hook though. So off we go again, gloves up, striking, little pizzon, try and make the entry easier, get a guillotine wrap. Now you could try and actually go for the guillotine, but I prefer to pull them down to their knees first and then go for the guillotine, if that's what I'm going to do. Quite often though, guillotine leads to a back take from this position, so you'll see me skip around for the back take, there we go. And now I'm looking to see what we can get. And when it's striking time, we want to do, you know, you can get a lot more done when it's striking time. Some of these positions are much easier to deal with, this being one of them, because I can strike him in a minute. So what I'm going to do is jeopardize his base first. So look, you can see my right arm is on his elbow. So what I'm going to do now, with my deep, tight waist, with my left arm around his middle, I'm going to tip him so that he falls to his right. So his shoulder, I want his shoulder here to fall onto the ground. That will probably make his hand that I'm blocking here accessible by the other hand. So I'm going to try and cross grip him, which will then open up the strikes from my right arm. So look, let's see this. See, I tip him there you go, there's the tip. And now look, my right arm is going to feed and try and grab his right arm. Sorry, my left arm is going to try and grab his right arm. And that would be a cross grip. That means he can't now turn away from me. So he has to either give me the back or take the strikes. Because then my right arm will start punching him. He'll probably try and get back up. I mean, it makes sense for him to try and throw his legs over the top, like his left leg here, try and do like a Granby roll and try and recover some kind of guard. But a lot of times people will just try and get back up to their turtle position, and that opens up the strikes. So look, here we go. I've got the grip, and now there's the strike. Look, boom, now you just strike away with his face. It's hard for him to block this. His far arm is not that good at blocking it. And I'm going to keep tipping him over and trying to jeopardize his base, so he keeps opening his face up for this strike. My left leg is also going across the back of his calf, so So it's a little difficult for him, not impossible, but a little difficult for him now to roll away from me as well. Good, there you go. See, I'm trapping his calf. So he's trying to do anything he can to stop it. The calf trap kind of makes it harder for him to roll towards me as well. So it just helps. And now you get a nice good couple of shots of the face and advance to the back if you need to. So here we go, there you go. He's eventually opting to do that other roll, which is like the Granbury style. But, you know, he didn't capture the guard, but he got himself out of that position. So you can see me from here, my foot. See, my left foot was blocking the elbow escape just then. So from here, look, he wants to try, he's got his arm framing my leg here. He wants to take his left leg and slide it underneath. But I've put the sole of my foot on the top of his thigh. It's a counter when you're in high mount, stops it. So he can't do the elbow escape. See, there you go, you see him trying? There's my top of my foot on his thigh. So he's never gonna get underneath my leg like that. So it doesn't matter how hard he pushes with his elbow, he won't bring his leg underneath. So now he has to turn and try and move up my body to get his knee so he can come under my shin. So look, he goes flat on his back, he's going to start trying to move up. You see I'm throwing the strikes here. This is one of the reasons why the mount is good from this position. He's going to be looking for a trap and roll in a minute. Look how close he is. See, this is perfect. His hands are on the inside position. He's hugging my head. If he releases my head, his hands are in the inside position. He's going to be bumping me to try and bring me back down so he can get close again. See, there's the bump and there's the hug again. Now look, see, he's staying super close. Perfect. He's done plenty of glove work, Michael. So a lot of times if you're newer to the glove work but you've got good rolling experience, getting punched like this makes you panic a little bit and then your game goes out the window somewhat. It doesn't take long for someone who has lots of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience to get good at this, because you only have to be punched a few times and you start to realise you've got to stay close, and you very quickly realise what moves work good and what moves don't work when you're so close. Here we go, he's going to go for a lovely trap and roll here, beautiful combatives. So now again, you see I'm holding his head, throwing a few strides, boom, boom, and the strides, lovely. Good, super light, I go into a Rimiashi, which is the standard entry leg lock position. It's pretty weak. You see me trying to pass the leg over, I'm passing the leg over so I can start to generate more threat, going into the saddle and that kind of position. I think the time is about to go though. And there it is. Good roll, Michael. Good job.